presenting my topic, which is water. First, we're going to talk about the background information on this topic. We're going to discuss the first issue, which is persistent organic pollutants, why we should care about them, and what has been done as a result of them. And then the second issue we're going to talk about is algae blooms in Lake Winnipeg and why they are bad. First, we're going to talk about some background information. We're going to talk about the fate of chemicals that are introduced into the environment. And there are two possible outcomes for it. The first one is degradation, which is the way a chemical breaks down. And that depends on the compartment it is in, which means that if it is in water, then it will break down through hydrolysis. If it's in the air, it could break down through photolysis, and so on. The second one is partitioning, which is the way a chemical interacts between environmental phases. That means between air and soil or air and water, and that determines where the chemical ends up. What happens if chemicals do not degrade? They bioaccumulate, and that happens in two ways. The first one is bioconcentration, which is non-dietary partitioning. This means that these chemicals get absorbed into the tissue of animals directly through the environment, through the air, through the water, and build up over time. The second one is biomagnification, which is the increased concentration of the chemicals up the food chain. This means that larger animals eat a higher volume of smaller animals and as a result have an overall larger concentration of the chemicals in their bodies. This results in decreasing water quality. Two ways in which we are affected is persistent organic pollutants and algae blooms. What are POPs? They are organic compounds that are resistant to degradation. These compounds were introduced into the environment they're used in pest and disease control, in crop production, and other industries. However, they have had unforeseen effects on the health of humans and wildlife. Why should we care about POPs? Well, because we are exposed to POPs in a variety of different ways, but mainly through the food that we consume. And these chemicals bioaccumulate in our bodies. These bioaccumulations can lead to an increased cancer risk, reproductive disorders, alteration of the immune system, neurobehavioral impairments, endocrine disruptions, genotoxicity, and an increased birth defects. And this is a global issue because these chemicals can be transported in water and wind, which can affect people far away from where they were released. What has been done as a result? The Stockholm Convention took place in 2001 and was implemented in 2004. It was a global treaty whose purpose is to safeguard human and wildlife health by eliminating POPs. 185 countries have ratified this convention, and as a result, 34 POPs were banned as a result. The second issue we're going to talk about is algae blooms in Lake Winnipeg. Why do algae blooms occur? They occur because phytoplanktons grow rapidly due to eutrophication. Eutrophication is the over-enrichment of areas with nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen, and these come from sources such as agriculture that flow into rivers and bays in the sea, and it overfeeds algae that is naturally occurring in the area. Environmental conditions can also affect the severity and the duration of these algae growth. Conditions such as temperature, wind, and sunlight are all factors that could either increase or decrease the amount of algae that grows in an area. Why are algae blooms bad? There are harmful algae blooms that produce toxins that can kill wildlife and cause human illnesses, and in severe cases, even death. There are other algae that are non-toxic but use up all the oxygen in the water as they decay, and that causes fish to die of lack of oxygen, and they can also clog up the gills of fish and cause harm to them as a result in that way too. And the third way that we are affected is it affects the health of the economy, especially in coastal communities that are dependent on jobs such as fishing and tourism in an area. An example of this would be Lake Winnipeg. It is the world's 10th largest freshwater lake by surface area and has experienced blooms of blue-green algae, also known as cyanobacteria, at a regular occurrence at least since the 1990s. And this happens due to high phosphorus loading from extensive agriculture in the area and outdated wastewater treatment facilities that have not been updated in a really long time. These are the references I have used for this presentation, and I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for listening.